now we are very, very, well, I don't know what the word is. Blessed, yes, blessed to have the wonderful Paisley Fields. Take it away, Paisley.
All right. My Calgary debut. Seems like everybody knows how to live. Get a 9 to 5, a little front porch, 2.5 kids. Back home if you ain't married by 22. Something's gotta be wrong with you. So I hit the sky with a one-way ticket, never looked back. With $1,000, 2 suitcases, and a plan of attack. Running from the person they wanted me to be. I didn't want to be anyone other than me. Well, I can drink a beer, shoot a deer, and pick a fight too. But I'm not like those fake outlaws they're selling you. The boys who push me into walls in junior high, calling themselves Jesus-loving American guys. I've got a message for those hypocrites. I'm coming in hard with a limp wrist. Well, New York took me in and knocked me down, but it beat the hell out of sticking around that little old town, where if you ain't the traditional family man, you're on your own making up your life's plan. Well, I can drink a beer, shoot a deer, pick a fight too, but I'm not like those fake outlaws they're selling you. The boys who push me into walls in junior high, call themselves Jesus-loving American guys. I've got a message for those hypocrites. I'm coming in hard with a limp wrist. What you making up for with your hyper-masculine game? Are you overcompensating to cover up some secret sissy shame? You good old boys keep talking like you're going to war. Well, you just might be, 'cause I'm not taking your shit anymore. Well, I can drink a beer, shoot a deer, pick a fight too, but I'm not like those fake outlaws they're selling you. The boys who push me into walls in junior high, calling themselves Jesus-loving American guys. I've got a message for those hypocrites. I'm coming in hard with a limp wrist. Yeah, I'm coming in hard with a limp wrist. All right, I'm gonna do one more now, and this is a song I wrote with my friend Mia Byrne about my hometown. It's called Iowa. Sometimes you just don't belong someplace, even if it's where you were born and raised. I'd stare out at the rows of corn and wish I could disappear, while the other kids got cheered and seemed so free. But they ain't me. I had to leave. In the Iowa behind. There was something else for me to find. So I had to roam. Sometimes your hometown isn't home. I knew I was different by Little League, picking violets in the outfield. Even the parents laughed at me. But I left those meadows and the summer air, 'cause I worried one day they might find my body there. Like that boy in Wyoming, with the same cross I bear. In the Iowa night, a billion stars shine. That's what I'm made of, but I had to leave it behind. There was something else for me to find. So I had to roam. Sometimes your hometown isn't home. Let some other cowboy who didn't have to go sing about his pickup truck and the country life he knows. He never had a thing to fear, and that's what really shows. Men like him think leaving is something that I chose. In the Iowa night, a billion stars shine. That's what I'm made of, but I had to leave it behind. There was something else for me to find, and so I had to roam. Sometimes your hometown isn't home. Sometimes your hometown isn't home.
All right, yeah, so Paisley Fields and a couple of tunes there. I think you lied to us a little bit earlier.
Did I?
Yeah, you said that this was your debut, but from what I remember, you were here before.
In I was not here, but one of the bands that I play with was here before.
Oh, okay.
Lavender Country, and I wasn't able to be there on that one, but...
All right, so I guess so it was my mistake. All right, well, those songs seemed quite personal. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself, seeing as it is your debut, and
sure,
we might not know you?
Yeah, they are personal. They're biographical. I'm originally from a small town in rural Iowa. I moved to New York. From there, I grew up in a really big family, pretty religious, and I was closeted. So, growing up gay at the turn of the millennium in rural Iowa was quite a interesting experience. But I always, found music to be really the powerful thing that I connected to, and eventually country music was really what felt like the most natural for me to play. So that's why I ended up playing country music and where I am today, I guess.
Well, I suppose coming from Iowa, the tendency to drift towards country music might be understandable, but how do you, being a queer gentleman, how do you, how does country music fit in your life, or how do you fit into country music? Because you would think that, even as an outlaw country artist, it'd be a bit of a stretch to blend in, or am I?
You're not far off at all. No, when I was growing up, I always kind of rebelled against it, and it was something that was always around, but it just seemed more like the quote unquote normal people, the thing that they would listen to, and I would always try to find the music that was more punk or more edgy, and I didn't really feel like I fit in there. But now, there are a lot of queer country artists, and we have this community, and I think we're kind of, there are people who came before us, like I was saying, Lavender Country, who kind of, paved the way for us to do what we do and find our own sort of corner in this genre, even if they don't really want to wouldn't have let us in. I'm a friend of mine, her name's Karan. She started the Queer Country Monthly in Brooklyn, and one of the things she always says is it's, this kind of music is for people who love country music, even if country music isn't going to love you back. And I was kind of connected with her when she said that, and I feel like we're kind of making our own thing, and I feel like a lot of times I'm kind of making my own way, playing this type of music and just speaking the truth. Country music is 3 chords and the truth. Sometimes I'll throw in a minor 7th or something, but
oh no, you're getting into jazz territory.
Yeah. I grew up studying classical music, and I played in the church and all that, so I'm sometimes a bit of a theory nerd, and I try to dial it back and really just make it about the story, because I think that's ultimately what country music is about. It's about us telling our stories, and we should be allowed to tell it just as much as anybody else is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I know some of the stories you tell are really rather interesting. Well, I know they're probably all really interesting, but I've only heard a few. You have one called "Stay Away from My Man." Do you want to talk about that? I mean,
I do. Sure. Yeah. I collaborate with Mia Byrne quite a bit, and when we were sitting down to write this time, she said, what if Loretta Lynn had been born a gay man? What song would she have written? And we came up with "Stay Away from My Man." So that's it's a bit of a spoof on a Loretta Lynn song, but we modernized it a bit.
Mm-hmm. Are there anybody else? Well, who else would you consider to be your influences, whether it's country or otherwise?
Influences, as far as country, I've always loved Garth Brooks, and he's really been an ally from the beginning. I love the Chicks, Reba, Shania, and there are a lot of modern country artists I like. I also like, as a piano player, I love Tori Amos and Nina Simone, and just like a real variety of genres, and I just love hearing new music all the time. Well,
okay. A lot of what those artists seem to be doing, I think Nina Simone and the Chicks too, perhaps not intentionally, but taking on the establishment, taking on the powers that be. Do you do that with your music?
Well, yes, we have actually. I have done that, and I think it's just something I fell into in a way. I didn't set out to be like, I'm going to take on the establishment, but I just sort of look at the world around me and try to express how I'm affected by it and how I see other people affected by it. And it's just kind of what comes out. And I think an artist's job is to really reflect the modern world. And being a queer person, you kind of don't really have a choice but to be somewhat political. They call us political, but really we're just trying to live our own lives,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's... Well, I think you mentioned that you have a new album coming out, or a new release shortly?
I did, yeah. I have a live mini EP that just came out a couple days ago. The last song I played, Iowa, is on that. And we have videos out for all of those. It was filmed on the Field of Dreams, which is, I don't know if everybody's familiar with that, but it was a movie that was filmed in Iowa, my home state, and it's a baseball themed movie, and it was always very prevalent in my life growing up, and I was able to have this opportunity to go onto the Field of Dreams and record this series of songs. So that was really kind of special and powerful for me.
Well, this might be a surprise to you, or maybe I'm already telling you something you don't know, but the guy who wrote the book or the short story that Field of Dreams was built on was a guy named W.P. Kinsella, and he was from just north of here.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
Well, that's
so
a cool coincidence. Yeah.
Yeah. You've got a gig tomorrow, and do you want to tell people about that, where you're playing?
I do. I do have a gig tomorrow. I'm playing this festival called Sled Island, and I'm going to be playing at the Palomino at 3:30 tomorrow, so I hope everybody will come out. I'll be doing a bunch of new songs, old songs, fan favorites.
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of those. Have you got anything else in the works? Are you, besides Sled Island, like what's happening? What are you up to?
Yeah, I got some shows in New York. I'm going to be recording some new music in Nashville. I'm touring in August, and just working on a bunch of new music, writing new music, and playing lots of shows.
Yeah. Getting home much, or just constantly on the road?
Every once in a while. I woke up the other day and thought, "Where am I? Am I on a plane? No, I'm in my own bed for once. Can finally rest for a minute."
Well, that must have been wonderful. Well, I suppose we could get you to do a couple more if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I'd love to. I wasn't planning on doing this one, but I'll do it. Since we talked about it, I wrote this song with Mia called "Burn the State House Down." It's a one of our political songs. This was happening. We wrote it when all of these in the States, these bills were being passed that were anti-trans, anti-drag, and we were just so angry. And we thought, what can we do? Let's write a song. And so we wrote it and put it out within like a couple of weeks, and it got onto Democracy Now! And I think even the governor of Tennessee quoted it in an angry way, because this is basically a letter to him, Governor Bill Lee of Tennessee, who was coming out against drag queens. And funny enough, it turned out a picture of him in 1977 appeared of him doing drag. So the irony of that was not lost on us. It's plain to see, Mr. Lee, you got a problem. You're banning things you don't know a thing about, while your too big government tries to rein us in and control us from the inside out. Ain't you ever heard of freedom of expression? Are you trying to start a second civil war? You're telling folks to think about the children. Now where have I heard that line before? And I think it's time you listen to the people, 'cause we're the ones who make this country proud. And if you keep on throwing matches on this gasoline, it's gonna burn this state house down. You call yourself a Christian, act like Jesus, 'cause Jesus loved the outlaws just like me. Your cruel words and your actions incite violence. You can't trick good folks with your hypocrisy. And I think you know exactly what you're doing. Your laws are putting bodies in the ground. And if you keep on throwing matches on this gasoline, it's gonna burn this state house down. Do you think a drag queen can't get into heaven? You're distracting folks with all these nonsense rules. Do you remember doing drag in 1977? Yeah, you'll ban trans kids, but you won't ban guns from school. And I'm asking, whose lives are you protecting? Do you think you're gonna run us out of town? 'Cause if you keep on throwing matches on this gasoline, gonna burn this state house down. I'll point the finger, Mr. Lee, just like you're doing, the way you twist the golden rule around. 'Cause if you keep on throwing matches on this gasoline, gonna burn this state house down. Gonna burn this state house down. Gonna burn this state house down. This next one's called Catch Me, and it's off of the new live mini EP called The Field Sessions. I always envied the girls on the dance floor, held so tenderly, not afraid of following leads. Those girls with a sparkle of love in their eyes, while I'm staring at the ground, so Brett Baker doesn't see the one in mine. I wish I could be in her high heel shoes, swept off my feet with nothing to lose, and feel my head on his chest while I'm carefree spinning in that little black dress. I wonder how it would feel to fall and have strong arms there to catch me. So catch me. and dance with a friend to get close to you. There's nothing more I can do, so I'll close my eyes and get lost in the song. The truth is I'm used to pretending. For once, can I be wrong? I wish I could be in her high heel shoes, swept off my feet with nothing to lose, and feel my head on his chest while I'm carefree spinning in that little black dress. I wonder how it would feel to fall and have strong arms there to catch me. I could barely take my eyes off of you from the moment you walked in the door. With her on your arm, why can't it be me? Would it really be so bad if you caught me looking at you the way I do? Oh, Brett, could you catch me looking at you? I wish I could be in her high heel shoes, swept off my feet, nothing to lose, and feel my head on your chest. Oh, I'm carefree spinning in that little